once in the world you have a circuit like this. You know, if you finish this race, you've really achieved something.
It's a matter of just keeping a constant pace.
All this traffic, you know, is terrible. You have to adapt again.
The night for me is the most difficult part of the race.
It's tough, really tough.
The 38th ADAC Zurich 24-hour race on the legendary Nürburgring North Loop is certainly one of the biggest motorsports events of the world. Over 200 participating vehicles and over 800 admitted drivers make it a unique event. Since 1970, the classic touring car race has been held in the Eifel, and 2010 promises to become one of the most exciting races of the past years. For with Audi, BMW and Porsche, three renowned manufacturers at a time late claim to overall victory. The special character of the event is mainly attributable to the unique racetrack.
It's the green hell.
The North Loop, with a length of over 25 kilometers, is the longest permanent racetrack of the world. A real challenge for drivers and cars. Sunshine and temperatures of somewhat over 10 degrees Celsius ensured good conditions for the start of the 24-hour race. Exactly 197 vehicles and, with BMW, a real challenger.
This
is going to be an extremely strong race, the strongest field that has ever been at the start. More than 10 cars could win the race. This includes ours. At least I hope so. And now let's just take the race as it comes. Among others, Pedro Lamy at the start for BMW. He had already won 4 times, but did not think that the Bavarians were cast for the role of the front runner.
The Audis are very fast, so we will see how it's going to be at the beginning and the rhythm they can have, and hopefully we can keep them pace and stay together for the beginning of the race. But hopefully we don't have major problems, and if you don't have major problems, I'm sure you're going to finish well.
Audi dominated in the qualifying. 4 R8 LMS were on the first 4 positions, with drivers such as the DTM stars Timo Scheider, Matthias Ekström and Oliver Jarvis, or touring car legends Hans Stuck and Frank Bieler. The lineup of the team was very impressive. Timo Scheider in the pole, which is not that important for a long-distance race. Pole is one thing and the race something else altogether. The fact is that there are 10 to 15 cars capable of winning. We're delighted about yesterday's achievement, but now we have a very long 24 hours ahead of us, so you need good tactics and a good strategy and a car that simply does what you want it to do. Porsche, among others, represented by the hybrid, a real secret tip for many insiders. But Manthey Racing had a heavy burden to carry. The serial winner of the past 4 years had to face a challenge like never before. I don't think we can relax in the light of this competitive field. We'll definitely try and get ahead at the start and give it everything we've got at the start, just like last year. Our rivals are just so very good that we've simply got to get to the front as quickly as possible, because this will definitely be a sprint. I'm assuming it'll be a longer race this year than last. 20 minutes before the start of the race, a good piece of tradition, the introductory lap. The drivers drive through the complete track once again, cheered on by the about 220,000 fans at the North Loop. Like every year, the field was divided up in 3 starting groups, which were sent in the race at intervals of 2 minutes. Another well-established ritual, the variety of letterings and drawings on the asphalt. At several sections of the track, like here at the carousel, the spectators were even allowed to go on the track in order to get really close to their heroes. A very important element for the drivers as well. Jörg Bergmeister in the hybrid Porsche, one last time greeting the fans that had taken the best seats at that time. And then the race was started. At 3 p.m. sharp, the 38th ADAC Zurich 24-hour race was cleared. First, the Audis were in the lead, but the yellow-green Manthey Porsche started to move to the front after the first meters. The starting driver, Marcel Thiemann, on the track with really soft tires and at optimum operating temperature. The 36-year-old was fifth when he went in the first curve. The field arranged itself slowly. No turners and accidents in the start phase. The drivers all very disciplined and still on the Grand Prix track that was inaugurated in 1984. Thiemann continued his stormy ride. The Hamburg-born driver, at the same time record holder with 5 overall victories as well, had already passed 3 of the 4 Audis when he approached the Müllenbach Loop. Only DTM champion Timo Scheider tried to defend himself against the attacks of the former DTM driver. But Scheider was not really able to stop the Manthey driver either. Coming out of the Michael Schumacher S-curve, Thiemann was already next to the black Audi R8 LMS and shortly afterwards on his way into the Warsteiner curve, past the race number 100 on the outside. The hybrid Porsche behind one of the 2 BMW M3 came 8th. So they went through the Advent Bend in the direction of the NGK chicane in the depths of the forest of the North Loop for the first time. The fact that the defending champion was already in the lead then was a clear sign of the strength of Porsche, which considerably snubbed its competitors.
Olaf Manthey
and Roland Krust told me to get to the front right away, so that's what I did. It went really well. I made a good start and I think my tires were warm enough. You could see Audi were struggling with their tires in the first 20 bends and they weren't coming up to temperature, so that was a huge advantage for me. I made up a few meters on the Grand Prix circuit and managed to pass a few cars.
The second group started shortly afterwards. It included the not quite so powerful cars, but still cars with well-known names. Cars like the Audi TT or the gas-fueled Volkswagen Scirocco, among others with Nasser Al-Attiyah, who came second in Dakar 2010 at the steering wheel. The cars of the OPC race camp with an Opel Astra GTC and a power of about 300 horsepower were also part of it. The 8 drivers were divided up into cars selected from about 22,000 competitors. After the premiere in 2008 had both cars not making it to the finish line, they came to the starting line with a lot of optimism this year. Top priority, make it through the race and see the checkered flag. At that point in time, the top cars were back on the Döttingen Heights again. They reached top speeds of up to 280 km per hour there. The drivers can relax a bit then. The speed was incredibly high in the start phase, as had been expected. Thiemann came first, after him Timo Scheider, followed by Lance David Arnold in the Haribo Porsche and Lukas Luhr in the yellow and black Audi, and the best BMW, Jörg Müller, still 7th. The tension was also to be observed on the face of Matthias Ekström. A car that stayed behind the leading field, the Ferrari F430 GTC of the Hankook team Farnbacher. The Italian gave the spectators an inkling of his potential in the training, was in the leading field after the first session. After problems in the qualifying, however, they had only the starting position 46, and Marco Seefried had to begin the race at the end of the field.
In the second time practice yesterday, Dominik Farnbacher found himself in an unfortunate situation outside with the BMW, a slower car, and this is why we're not really able to fight back anymore in the second time practice. We were in the leading field in the first 2 trainings after all. This is the reason why we started at the back. I don't know the exact result because we wanted to ignore it. Now we have managed to work our way to the lead by and by, and I think the fact that we can drive 9 laps gives us a good position.
Then the Audi team got lucky. A defective car had lost liquid in the Hohenrhein chicane shortly before start and finish. This would almost have had fatal consequences for Timo Scheider, but the 31-year-old just made it back on the racetrack.
They were waving yellow and oil flags on the entrance to the last chicane, so everything was okay. We took off speed, but then there was coolant or oil on the track and I very nearly crashed. But thankfully, just before hitting the barrier, I recovered grip and got back onto the track. It wasn't a great moment, and I'd say I was lucky. Then hot discussions were going on with BMW at the pits. The race number 26, with Dirk Werner at the steering wheel, reported an impact in the Arenberg section. The car shortly hit the dirt while overtaking a slower vehicle. It could no longer be controlled as a result, and contact with the guardrail was inevitable. It was a pretty hefty shunt. The front left suspension broke, and I'm not sure whether the rear suspension might be as well. By way of a precaution, we're changing the front end too, because the radiator and the whole front end suffered in the trip across the gravel. I'm really sorry, because we obviously have no chance in the race now. There's definitely no way we can win from here. Everything went according to plan for the Manthey team in the meantime. They left the Audis behind slowly, but certainly with fast lap times. The role of main pursuer had been assumed by number 98 with Frank Stippler at the steering wheel. His brand colleagues Scheider and Luhr still had to deal with Lance David Arnold. After only 5 laps, the hybrid Porsche really unexpectedly went to the pits. In the preparatory runs, the 24-hour race, they could drive 10 laps with 1 tank filling. This would be 2 more than many of their competitors. As a result, they would need some pit stops less in the long run. An advantage not to be underrated with a standing time of approximately 2 minutes. Regular visitors over the past years, the Japanese from Toyota with the Lexus LFA, they seek the challenge of the green hell year after year. The 24-hour race on the Nürburgring plays a very important role in the Far East as well. But the start phase was no fun for the guys from the land of the rising sun. Both cars had technical problems and were regular visitors to the pits early on. In the meantime, Timo Bernhard had taken over the steering wheel from Marcel Thiemann. This left their dominant position intact. A strong point of the race number 1 was the well-balanced driver team. Thiemann, Bernhard, Lieb and Romain Dumas have been a well-attuned team for years. The pursuers in the form of Audi were much more busy trying to figure out the hierarchy within their own team. They were fighting against each other instead of following a clear-cut mutual arrangement. This kind of tackle always takes time and involves a certain risk. Nevertheless, the Audis were the only ones who could keep up with the race number 1. BMW could not and did not want to join the high starting speed and decided to drive constantly high 8-minute lap times. Number 25 came 7th at that point in time.
We would need to be a little bit quicker, but we have to do what the track and what the car tires allow us, and we are trying to make it work. We're still learning. I mean, it's the first 24 hours for our brand new M3. The car showed that it's born with a great base.
First victim among the front-runners. The Marmero Porsche team with Chris Marmero, Wolf Hensler and Jörg Hart at the steering wheel had to park their car against their will after a short race duration and to give up hope of winning. Peter Marmero was obviously disappointed. Unbelievable. We'd prepared incredibly well, but things have happened which we could never have expected. We were basically on the pace. We showed we were capable of keeping up in qualifying and in the race, but after a few minor technical problems, something gave up completely and we couldn't go on, because it's clearly something major on the technical front. It's a big shame.
und ist halt sehr, sehr schade.
The University of Applied Science of Cologne took part with the Ford Focus RS with the support of a prominent driver. Jari Matalatvala, who had won the New Zealand rally shortly before, also faced the most difficult task in motorsports and took part in the 24-hour race for the first time. The car had been set up and driven by students in cooperation with Ford.
It is a big challenge, but I like challenges, and it's good for me for the future in tarmac rallies in the WRC Championship.
Pit stop of number 98. Hans-Joachim Stuck, winner of the first 24-hour race in 1970, took over the steering wheel from Marc Basseng. Lukas Luhr was replaced by Christian Abt at the same time, but Luhr not really happy. I took it reasonably easy in the first stint, but then I had a minor problem with the team, by which I mean within the Audi family, because there are a couple of lads out there who simply aren't moving over. It's a fight to get free of them, and we lost a little bit of time, but it went well after that. I think we're on P2. The field behind the Manthey is, how shall I put it, tightly bunched. Fundamentally, it's not good to get into the infighting so early in the race. I've just had a tricky moment on my in-lap at the Pflanzgarten 2 sector, where a BMW pushed me onto the grass. A couple of scratches, but nothing worse, but it shows you how fast we're going. Pit stop Manthey Racing still in the lead. Change of driver. Thiemann replaces Timo Bernhard at the steering wheel again. Up to now the car is going really well. The Manthey Porsche GT3-R, I think we've added 10 or 15 seconds to the lead. It's really okay, but it wasn't easy, as it's very slippery off the ideal line. The Haribo Porsche went out of steam a bit, only 8th at that point in time. Slowly, the night descended upon the Eifel, and suspense and drama were to follow. Sudden discussions among the drivers of the Audi with the number 98, Frank Stippler, Hans Stuck and Mike Rockenfeller, went into a huddle. Audi sports chief Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich was not pleased either. The reason was that Marc Basseng was driving slowly and had to park the Audi on the Döttingen Heights. Mark came up behind a car while overtaking, and the guy put on his indicator. He was about to pass where he normally would when the indicator comes on, but the car lurched to the opposite side and Mark simply ran out of the road. He tried to avoid the crash and hit the curb hard in the center of the car, breaking the water pump and 2 oil lines under the car. He lost water and oil and obviously couldn't go on.
Die Wasserpumpe und 2 Ölrohre unter dem Wagen abgerissen, hat dann Wasser und Öl verloren und dann ging es natürlich nicht mehr weiter.
A similar fate befell the leading Manthey Porsche. He also crashed with a slower car. Mark Lieb was sitting with the car and he's told us a Golf came off the track and then back on, hitting our left front and rear. We'll have to see if we can get the car back here and maybe get it repaired, but we'll just have to wait and see. But the car was too badly damaged for repairs on the spot and the serial champions were out of the race. Team Abt Sportsline reviewed and re-reviewed the onboard footage of the accident, which ended their hopes. Audi number 100 had been back in the team tent for a long while. The damage too heavy for a trackside repair. You can repair every car, but I think it's hardly worth it when you're 3 hours behind. It's too much of a risk. It's a great shame. We came here looking to win and not pick up the booby prize, but that's what it looks like we'll get at the moment. Olaf Manthey was also deprived of one of his top cars. We're definitely disappointed. You can't stop thinking to yourself, maybe I should have passed on the left or stayed in the middle or accelerated, then maybe I'd have got past him quicker. These are the thoughts that go through your head. It's a massive disappointment as the car was terrific and we were in really good shape. What a shame. The biggest beneficiary of the two retirements was the Phoenix Audi R8 number 99, which now took the lead, although at around 3:30 in the morning it was just a few seconds clear of the Porsche Hybrid. For almost an hour the cars raced through the night, just a few seconds apart. Yes, it was bumper to bumper. Whenever you managed to open up a small gap in traffic, you ran up against more traffic at a point on the circuit where you couldn't use speed to get past, and the guy chasing you is right up behind again. You can't really search clear in the dark, and it's especially difficult to overtake this year, because it's curious this year. So many cars are sticking to the middle of the track, neither left nor right, and you just don't know where to go. Should you pass on the left? Should you pass on the right? At some point you have to decide one way or the other, and there's an element of luck involved. The race approached the halfway point and Team BMW began closing in on the podium places. BMW number 25 was up to second at one stage. Close to halfway, fourth place in the middle of the night. Happy for now? More or less. The problem was that we couldn't keep up with the Porsches and Audis in the first stint, so obviously our strategy was just to keep going, make sure nothing got broken and drive as smooth a race as possible. We had a problem with the radiator. A piece of wood flew into it and we had to change it. But otherwise there's only one plan. Keep going, keep a reasonable, clean speed and avoid errors.
Aber ansonsten, ich glaube, für uns ist die einzige Devise jetzt durchfahren und wirklich gucken, vernünftige, saubere Speed fahren und gucken, keine Fehler zu machen.
A genuinely exciting night. Until 6 in the morning, the hybrid Porsche and two Audi R8s were on the same lap, covered by just 2 minutes at times. The gateway to hell is, some people say, in the Eifel, and the flames of Hades rose into the sky during the night. As usual, 24-hour race, 24-hour party. The best thing is the atmosphere, the people, the race, and the smell of petrol in the air. Drink till you drop, oh yes, but it's so cool watching the cars during the day, the drivers in the paddock, wicked. We're all friends here, everyone's totally relaxed, it's just so cool here, fantastic music, cars, great people. The support program and the attractions were as good as ever this year. Tented communities, barbecues and oddballs galore. Nighttime at the 24-hour race. Unique. I think we were up at the track for 2.5 hours, then back to the campsite to warm up, and then back to the track. So, what's better, being here or the action on the track? All of it together makes the whole thing what it is, and it's wonderful. We'll definitely be back next year. It's just great here. Partying or relaxation, plenty of opportunities for all. The drivers battled for position in the green hell, and the fans gave it their all too, right through the night. Those who made it through the night saw dawn break over the Eifel. Fog soon evaporated and the race continued without any problems. However, the party people needed a short recovery period. In recent years, sometimes the Nürburgring 24 hours had to been stopped. There were many accidents during the night. It was a little bit the same this year, but not enough to even bring out a safety car. That was certainly very good news indeed. There is the leading Audi with the number 99. Marcel Fessler, a former Mercedes-Benz DTM driver, was doing a great stint in that car. On board with the number 9, the hybrid Porsche, with a great pace and just 2 minutes behind. A great achievement for this car till now. The Porsche followed by the one remaining Abt Audi R8 LMS with Christopher Mies at the wheel. He had shared the night shift with Lukas Luhr and was 4 minutes and 30 seconds behind number 99. We have to keep playing it safe at all times, because we've seen our sister cars suffer a few problems. We're going to perform a few routine checks right now. We can't just go out and reel in the hybrid in front of us. When you include stops in the equation, we have to pit more often, so we'll concentrate on coming home second. Yes, second. Abt had inherited second place because the third Audi R8 LMS from Phoenix Racing had retired just a short time before. We're obviously really disappointed. We took the lead overnight and we basically defended it. We'd even pulled away a little, so you do start entertaining a few hopes. I think we all put in super stints, all top-notch stuff. It was a terrific fight for the lead with the Porsche and also with the Abt Audi, so we're obviously very, very disappointed. Suddenly, BMW were up to third and closing in. And quietly, stealthily and with no fuss, the Farnbacher-Ferrari had sneaked up to fourth. It's the first Ferrari which have ever been entire to the Nürburgring 24-hour race. The BMW developed for the American Le Mans series and indeed will be racing in Le Mans this year. So this is a very good practice for that event. The Haribo Porsche struggled with major technical problems during that night. The car was down in P45 at this point, and that was after making good a few places. The Porsche RS project was enjoying a decent race. The near production car is actually street legal and covered the distance from Stuttgart to the Nürburgring under its own steam. Roland Asch, Patrick Simon, Chris Harris and Horst von Sauma would finish a sensational 13th. Remember, this is a car totally road going. The interesting Porsche, the hybrid car which has been battling for the lead, here on board with it again. The driver lineup, a mixed tour of established Porsche talents like Jörg Backmeister and 3 of the young chargers, Richard Lietz, Marco Holzer and Martin Ragginger. Just 4.5 hours from the finish line, the Abt R8 had run into trouble and entire. Here Christian Abt and his mechanics very upset. His main target this year, the victory of the 24 hours, isn't possible anymore. Yeah, we had a few problems. I don't think we need to make any secret of that. We need to work on that and improve. I don't think we were 100% ready, because these things don't happen if you are. We'll go home now, do our homework, and I hope we'll be back. That means there's just one competitive Audi left. The number 97, driven by Marc Bronsel, Luca Ludwig, son of the DTM legend Klaus Ludwig, Dennis Rostek and Markus Winkelhock, also a DTM driver for the brand with the 4 rings. They were in 4th place at this point. The BMW with the number 25 was now up to the second position. The top 5 also including another BMW and another surprise in the shape of the Schubert Motorsport Z4 GT3, driven by Marco Hartung, Patrick Söderlund, Edvard Sandström and Martin Ohlin. They were 5th and eyeing a podium finish. Nasser Al-Attiyah in the blue CNG VW Scirocco had no problems with the car up to this point. The Dakar runner-up posted consistent lap times. Together with Dieter Depping, another rally driver, Vanina X, daughter of Jackie X, and Klaus Nitzwitz, a German race driver and journalist, the car would finish 16th overall and win the class for alternative-fueled cars. On board with the Middle East Rally champion and the new Scirocco Volkswagen. There's a special Volkswagen Scirocco Cup this year, and indeed, they all run this special fuel. A nice and successful concept.
It's okay, I finished 7 laps, no problems, everything good, and I am really happy and just waiting again. I want to drive, continue. It's really excited.
Regulars at the 24-hour race, the Kissling Opel Astra GTC with brothers Heinz Otto and Jürgen Fritsche and Finnish pair Hannu Luostarinen and Julius Nieminen would come in 44th. The number of factory teams at the head of the field changed this year, but they drove fairly. It was unusual how many accidents and retirements there were overnight, I must say. The favorites kept on dropping off like flies, just 2 hours to go and the Porsche Hybrid being parked up at Breitscheid. Concerned faces in the pits were looking not very happy, but a very interesting new project also ending in this huge disappointment. And we can hear from the driver Jörg Bergmeister what the problem was. We had some kind of problem with the engine. We have to analyze what it was. There was just no more propulsion. All in all, very disappointing because we were in the lead for so long. Well, I guess all in all, it's just a new project. The engineers could gather a lot of data, so that's a good base for the future. The retirement meant that BMW number 25 was in the lead, and this for the first time this year. The BMW number 26 with the World Touring Car champion Andy Priault have moved way back into the top 10. BMW may not have been the fastest, but the car has certainly the relay ability. Hear the pit stop of the 26 and we can hear from Andy Priault about their race.
A remarkable achievement if we can finish this race. It's our first 24-hour race with the car, and if we can finish it, and if we can finish it on the podium, we'll be extremely happy.
The Japanese Falcon Motorsport team, regular visitors to the 24-hour race for many years now, were also aiming for the top 10. Low on power, but very economical on fuel, Dirk Scheusmann, Peter Dumbrek, Tetsuya Tanaka and Kazuki Hoshino would add up 12th.
Last year we finished 11th, so hopefully we're gonna get the top 10 finish, but which is quite tough. But yeah, just go for it. Yeah.
But the real sensation of the race was the Hankook team Farnbacher-Ferrari, now up to the second place. This car, also an LMS type specification, and Allan Simonsen in particular is doing a great job in this car. He races normally in Australia. It's his first 24-hour race on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. In third, and enjoying a problem-free race in stark contrast to his sister vehicles, a private sponsored car, the third Phoenix Audi R8 LMS number 97. Gazoo Racing sent both of their cars back out onto the track for the closing stages, but only number 50 stayed in the race. Number 51 spent a long time in the pits and finally retired, but number 50 ended the race in a respectable 18th overall. But the Japanese have a lot of fun during the very special motorsport event.
Course is nice and so many fantastic people. I like it in Nürburgring.
The OPC Racecam car number 142 and drivers Henrik Schaaf, Jean-Marie Ratje, Arne Hofmeister and Roger Bühler also made it to the finish. Absolute fantastic 19th overall, an excellent result for the amateurs who battled through the TV selection. The second car with the number 141 also finished well at overall 23rd position. And here the Z4 in 4th place. They were in front of the private Black Falcon Audi R8 LMS with the son of Hans Stuck, Johannes. 4th, arguably the most disappointing place of them all. However, all involved were satisfied and happy. For Martin Olin, Patrick Söderling and Edvard Sandström, it was the first 24-hour race at the Nürburgring.
Our lineup is just one of the guys that have done 24 hours before. I have done one VLN race, Martin Olin have done 3 I think, and Patrick have done 2. So it's quite a good job from us. And
with the finish almost in sight, there was a scary moment for BMW. The gearbox started playing up and the team was uncertain whether the car would make it to the line. Apparently, the 4th gear was gone away, but at exactly 3 p.m. on Sunday, the BMW M3 GT2 crossed the line in the lead to win the 24-hour race at the Nürburgring. BMW was taking the victory for the 19th time. The drivers, of course, Uwe Alsen, Augusto Farfus, Jörg Müller and Pedro Lamy. Excellent result for the Bavarians. They didn't really start as a favorite. Lots of congratulations to the engineers, and everyone was celebrating this big success, especially the BMW boss, Dr. Mario Theissen. The event is so big in Germany, so it is also a victory of cachet. There are many moments like this in motorsports. It reminds me the most of Le Mans in 1999, where we also won the race, but I've never experienced anything as nerve-wrenching as this. That really was extremely tense. We started having problems at midday, but fortunately no one noticed. We lost the gear at midday on the winning car, and as of about 1:15, we basically lost the lot. How they kept up the lap times after that is basically a mystery to me. Ludwig, Bronsel, Rostek and Winkelhock finished 3rd, and the Ferrari driven by Simonsen, Farnbacher, Keen and Seefried a sensational 2nd.
I'm very happy. Very happy on behalf of the team, very happy on behalf of myself and my teammates. You know, it's a great achievement to come here for the first time and finish on the podium and then 2nd place. It's a very, very happy feeling.
Disappointing result for Audi, only 3rd. But they did win the SP9 category, the class with all the GT3 cars in. But for Luca Ludwig, a dream became true. As a kid, I stood at trackside and cheered on my father, who drove here himself up to 2007. He won here 3 times in all, and now here I am on the podium. I came here last year actually, but I'd never been through qualifying. I'd never driven at night, so I've experienced all this for the first time and basically come through it very well. I'm unbelievably grateful to Ernst Moser and Dirk Theimann, who put their faith in me and told me I could do it. And I'm incredibly well looked after by Phoenix Racing, a superb team, and it's definitely the secret of this success.
und das ist sicherlich auch der Schlüssel zum Erfolg gewesen.
BMW top of the podium, and one man made history too. Pedro Lamy won this race for the 5th time.
It was maybe my most difficult race at the end because we had a problem with the gearbox. So we knew that, and we want just to bring the car home, but it was very difficult. So we lost one gear, and the gearbox was doing noise. So it was another victory here in Nürburgring. Notchlife is great for me.
Ja, Wahnsinn. Ich habe 10 Jahre
Yes, sensational. I have been waiting for this moment for the last 10 years. The last time I was up here was in the year 2000 with the Phoenix Porsche. Now I won with BMW and the Schnitzer team. I don't think it can get any better. I'm looking forward to what is ahead of us. Tonight I'm just going to celebrate with the guys and enjoy our success.
Genießen, werde feiern mit den Jungs und werde es mal richtig krachen lassen.
The champagne sprays and Pedro Lamy draws the level with Marcel Thiemann, who also won this race 5 times. Check out those final standings. BMW, Ferrari, Audi. None could have predicted to that. Then the Z4 BMW and the first Porsche in 6th position. At the end, everybody was a winner. All in all, 123 cars have seen the finish line. We have seen many twists and turns, accidents, a lot of mechanical carnage. But the 38th ADAC Zurich 24-hour race at the Nürburgring had certainly proved to be a classic. Let's see again in 2011.